Hey, this is Arlene and Nana, and now you are listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. Today, it's just me,
And
Arlene.
Gowri?
Yeah, and we are going to open the news with a lot of news from Southeast Asia. But before that, how's your day, Gowri?
I think it's been okay so far. Last night was a little crazy though, because we stayed back until pretty late. But yeah, today's okay so far. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking forward to today's discussion. We have a lot of arts and culture discussion today.
Yeah, we have a very interesting interview later about spoken word poetry.
Mm-hmm. And for me personally, I love poetry, although I'm not an expert on it. But what I can be an expert now is to read the news, I guess.
Well, I actually love reading poetry as well, but I don't really know how to perform it, maybe. So I guess we'll find that out a bit later.
Yes, we have to find out a bit later. So first off, do you know what's happening around this week?
Your birthday?
Other than my birthday,
It's my birthday.
It's actually the coming month of Ramadan. So there's some sort of adjustment in terms of the working hours during the fasting month of Ramadan.
Oh yeah, that always happens. I think we're referring to Brunei here, but we can also pretty much relate to it in Malaysia.
Oh yeah, definitely. So in Brunei it's a bit formalized. So it's stated like this. Yeah, by the command of His Majesty, the Sultan Haji Hassan al-Bolkiah Murizadian Wadaulah, the Sultan and the Yang di-Pertuan Agong of Brunei Darussalam, has consented to update the working hours for ministries and government departments during the fasting month of Ramadan for 1435 Hijrah.
So from Monday to Thursday and Saturday, the working hours will begin from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. But for ministers and government departments working on Friday, the working hours will start from 8 a.m. until 11:30 a.m.
Wow, that is the shortest working hour
I
ever.
think if everyone would want to move to Brunei after reading this.
Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, the working hour for daily paid staff should be reduced by 1 hour from the normal time.
Does that apply to us as well, you think?
Well, I think it's by the consent of the
That was a joke, by the way.
Well, I just want to be
Right.
clear, like in Malaysia, I think it's not something that is official, but it's like you just know between each other. It's like a MOU, a mutual understanding between you and the company that you have to leave earlier because you need to go cooking or shop for Ramadan bazaar or something like that
Yeah,
before
but
the
I think
open
in
fast.
Malaysia, it's still pretty much the normal working hours, except that they probably close maybe a couple of hours earlier, but we don't actually get to stop work at 11:30. Like,
Yeah, I mean, okay, this sounds a bit cheesy, but I'm kind of jealous of the ministers there. I mean, their working hours between 8 to 11:30. Do you think it will be even would that be even productive at all to work for probably a couple of hours before lunch?
well, I really think that it depends on the work as well. But it seems like it's just gonna be half day every day, and it might affect the productivity.
It's not even half
but-
day, it's like quarter day, I would say.
Yeah, but then again, it's only for a month, so I don't know.
We don't know. Nobody knows.
I do know that it's fun.
But I think it will somehow affect the productivity of Brunei. But I don't think they care. I think they want to really sort of embrace the month of Ramadan. But I have friends who said to me, right? I have friends that said to me, right? The month of Ramadan is supposed to be like the month that you shouldn't have any privilege. If you want to fast, you should fast and you should work like a normal person work, which is the normal 8 hour a day. But what do you think about it?
I mean, I'm not too clear about what are the criteria for Ramadan and for fasting and all. But I think, yeah, she's probably right. It's the month where you make a lot of sacrifices, actually, I think, by not eating and you don't even drink water.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you still go to work every day. I remember when I was working back in Penang, and I had a lot of Malay colleagues, and they would all be complaining like, this is really hard, but we have to do it. We have to be strong. This is for Ramadan. Uh, so I think in terms of privileges, maybe they're not supposed to be entitled to any, but at the same time, I think the government is being considerate towards the workers because they are practically starving
I think
all
they are,
day.
they are probably. I mean, in the Brunei sense, they are probably being more considerate towards the ministers rather than the workers. The workers only have 1 hour reduced from their normal working hour.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, you're right. I mean, there should be some sort of compassion by the by the companies, but at the same time, I think there shouldn't be too much of a privilege, because it's the month of Ramadan.
Yeah,
I
I think sometimes it can backfire as well, because I think last year when I went for a holiday with my friends, and we were trying to, I guess we picked the wrong month. We picked Ramadan, and everywhere we went,
it's fully booked.
It was closed. It was not fully
Oh,
booked. Yeah.
It was closed. It's either
It was all
closed,
closed.
or it's fully booked. That you cannot find a place
Right.
to, have dinner at all.
And my friends were all from overseas, so they didn't have a very good impression on Malaysia when that happened. They were like, so they're fasting. So why are all the places closed? Like, don't we still need to go out and see things and eat?
Yeah, I mean, that's true also. I mean, that's definitely true. So from fasting, let's talk about something that we can eat, which is fish. So fish releasing day to boost sustainability. It was actually reported by Vientiane Time. The Department of Livestock and Fisheries plans to urge the government and private sectors to release around 30 million fingerlings, I never heard that word before, into reservoirs, rivers, and marshes. So anyway, I mean, this happened in Laos, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Bong Kyong asked various organizations as well as the government and private sectors in Vientiane and other provinces to hold a fish releasing ceremony to mark the day. That's pretty cool. I really love. I mean, if we can have fish releasing day in Malaysia as well. Anyway, the aim of the National Aquatic and Wildlife Day is to raise awareness and understanding on the values of conserving marine life and wildlife for sustainability. What do you think of joining a fish releasing day, Gowri?
I'm actually kind of afraid of fishes. So
Why?
they're slimy and they move really fast. But I think usually events like this they symbolize freedom, and in some parts of the world they release doves. They release even, I think in Malaysia we release turtles. We have turtle releasing events.
Oh, I wish I can join that.
In Terengganu, I think I read.
They do.
It's to, in a way, protect the baby turtles because they are an endangered species in Malaysia. And I think just this morning I saw a news where one of my favorite football player, actually Kaka, was involved in swimming with a turtle program kind of thing, and I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, it is. It is really cool. I mean, who doesn't like wildlife? Like being surrounded by it. I mean, I think this fish releasing day to boost sustainability is definitely. I mean, it's a very positive move, and I didn't think it should be just be for the Department of Fisheries to do it. I think a lot of people, if they have any fish that they want to release, they should just release it and let the ecosystem prosper. But at the same time, I think looking at the situation in Laos, the event also marked the history of Laos fishes development and the contribute it has made to the people living conditions and socio-economic development. Well, we have to remember that Laos is a majority underdeveloped country, and I think they want to remain it like that. They don't want to be too rapidly developed. since that they are still like somehow a socialist nation and a one-party nation.
And also, I think it would definitely improve their economy as well in a way by releasing all these fishes and uh, increasing the chances for people to get access to their source of protein.
That's true. And from fishes, we talk about, when I think about fishes, I always think about Savasro, I don't know why. But the story goes, signs of unease emerging in Sarawak. So some activists and politicians are rallying behind the idea of an autonomous Sarawak.
Wow, that's a pretty big deal, huh?
It is a pretty big deal. So what's the news? Why they are rallying for the autonomous Sarawak, by the way?
I think the formation of Sarawak and Malaya masquerading now as the Malaysia's federation first crossed paths some 51 years ago, even before the signing of Malaysia's agreement in July 1963 through the anti-Malaysia movement amidst clamor for an independent Sarawak. And the formation of the Malaysia Federation, declassified colonial documents make clear was only through secret deals. And Malaya, together with Singapore, concentrated on economic factors and development as well as threats of security in order to attract Sarawak.
Wow. So what do you think of Sarawak moving out from Malaysia?
I think not only Sarawak, Sabah, even Kelantan, I think came up with it. And coming from Penang, I know that a lot of Penangites have been broaching this idea as well. I think this is something that we have to go down to its basic and I guess analyze why could they actually come up with something like this, like. It is, I think, a consensus that most people are probably not satisfied with the current government, and they were trying to, with all the Ubah thing, the last elections, they wanted a change. Well, it doesn't have to be because they despise the government. Maybe they just want to give a good challenge, because sometimes when you don't have a challenge, you get complacent and you don't make an effort anymore. So probably that's what the people want.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think it also goes down to power. Like usually the reason why you want to be autonomous, there are very few reasons. I think one of the key reason is they want to be in control of their state, especially their national resources. I mean, looking at Sarawak, it has one of the highest GDP in Malaysia in terms of state GDP. You'll be surprised its GDP surpasses Johor's GDP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when it comes to Sarawak, it shows that Sarawak is actually quite a natural rich resource country. Sorry, it's not country, sorry, state. So, I mean, if you look at Sarawak, they have every reason why they need to be autonomous, because the power at the federal level is too concentrated. And I think if the federal could realize this and provide some form of, not really autonomous state, but more like some form of independence in terms of getting Sarawakians to decide on their own economy.
I guess Sabah, for the most part, we know that Sabah and Sarawak are also not happy about the fact that they are always marginalized, maybe. They always feel like they're not getting enough attention from the government, especially in terms of budget, royalty, and all. And also, one of my friends pointed this out, actually. There was a poster of One Malaysia, and there was a picture of a Chinese girl, Indian girl, and Malay girl. And then she was from Sarawak, and she asked me, so that's it? Malaysia is just Malay, Indian, and Chinese? Like, so where do we come in?
That's true. I mean, it's great that they asked that question, actually, because I think that the Peninsula politics has always been a very race and religious divided politics. And when it comes to Sabah and Sarawak, they can't relate to that, They don't have majority Chinese, Malay, or Indian. In fact, their ethnicity is very much on a equal level playing field when it comes to like how they interact with each other. They don't have this power play between races as we see in Peninsula. Maybe they do have some form of ethnic conflict in the past, but not now. No, now it's more like everyone is just a Sarawakian or everyone is just a Sabahan.
I think even since back then, when the British were here, Peninsula was administrated very differently from how it was in Sabah and Sarawak, because that was under the Brooke family, whereas in the Peninsula it was more about the Resident General and who all had to eventually report back to Singapore. But Sabah and Sarawak was actually administrated differently, and I guess that just kind of carried down even until today. They're still being administrated differently by our government.
But one thing I do want to highlight that Sabah and Sarawak, they do have special safeguards and protection via our constitution. They do have certain rights that Peninsular Malaysia do not have. I mean, but that's the thing. It's written in the constitution, but it's not really being implemented. For example, you'll be surprised in Sabah and Sarawak, they have the right, they have the freedom to choose their religion. Meaning they didn't specify just an only non-Muslim. They said that everyone in Sabah Sarawak have the right to choose their religion, and it shows that there's a lot of interfaith marriages in Sabah and Sarawak. So I'm actually, this is a bit extreme when it comes to the Sabah and Sarawak politics, wanting to, I mean, especially Sarawak wanting to move away from Malaysia. But at the same time, I can understand why they're doing this. I mean, economically, they want to be in the control of their country. And talking about economy, just to let you know, KLIA2 can meet demands for 15 years.
Okay.
So have you been to the KLIA2 before?
No, I haven't.
I haven't as well, but I heard very good news from friends who have already been to KLIA2. They say it's so big, it's beautiful.
But I did read that it's, well, before this, if you want to go to LCCT, you can always take a bus from KL Central or from a lot of shopping malls, even they provide it. But is it true that they cannot do it anymore? Like I
haven't been to, I mean, taking a bus from KLIA2. Taking a bus directly to KLIA2, of course, because I've never been to KLIA2. But what I know is there's a transit train from KLIA2 to KLIA, and probably they can take a transit train and take a bus from there. I have no idea actually. But the story goes that the mega terminal is able to handle up to 45 million passengers a year, 3 times more than the capacity of the previous low-cost carrier terminal. Sorry.
Yeah, I think they started their operation somewhere in early May, and they have since successfully handled more than 3 million passenger movements and 24,000 aircraft movements. And under the National Airport Master Plan, the government has laid out strategic development roadmap to provide for the growth in air travel demand across the nation for the next 50 years. And I think moving to KLIA2 is definitely a lot better for AirAsia, because and other low-cost carriers as well, because they have been growing. A lot of Malaysians these days, they prefer flying AirAsia, as we all know, compared to MAS, because MAS can be pretty expensive, and especially for short distance flights, everyone prefers a low cost carrier.
And MAS has been in a lot of different controversies, from the way it handles the MH370 to the way, how the way it handles its own revenues, that he haven't been making money since a couple of years ago. So yeah, MAS has been quite unpopular among people to take. But at the same time, I think I'm very positive about KLIA2. I think it is a very good move to build a KLIA2.
And I think, how do you feel about a cabinet reshuffle in this country, Arlene?
Oh, wow. I think some ministers in this country should be replaced.
Can be.
should be replaced.
You wouldn't mind, if they actually step down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind a cabinet reshuffle. So it seems like the Prime Minister Najib Razak today hinted that Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Hussein may not hold the transport minister portfolio when the cabinet is reshuffled. So he has plans for him.
Yeah, he also said that Hishamuddin has put in a lot of efforts in the past few months in the wake of the MH370 tragedy on the 8th of March. And I think he is still pretty much in charge of the entire MH370 issue, and he's still dealing with their friends and family members, and also to convey whatever news or whatever updates that the government has to the people.
And do you know what? He said that, Hishamuddin also agreed. He said that from the first day, he was already ready to give up the post anyway, because he was actually only an acting transport minister. So, I think someone else could do better in terms of becoming a transport minister, and I agree, Hishamuddin has done a lot, but he hasn't been doing his best when it comes to trying to ease the tension for the MH370 issue. Have you seen press conferences where it involves Hishamuddin?
Yeah, I think I saw plenty during the MH370 crisis, and I think it's probably not just him. It's just the way the politicians, whenever they speak, they always they're so neutral and diplomatic. You know, they don't want to reveal too much. At the same time, they want to give you some updates. So I think during the press conference as well, this one reporter said, I think he was from Australia, and he wrote in his blog that no questions were allowed, and he was really shocked because usually at a press conference you're allowed to have interactions, you're allowed to have a Q&A session, but during those conferences they actually said no questions, like you just listen to it and it's done.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I think Malaysian government need to learn a bit of too regarding on press conference. I mean, if it's just to release news about the MH370, they don't even need a press conference. They can write like a short report out of it. But if they want to have a press conference, I mean the word conference itself, they need to be ready for a real, Q&A. They have to dare to answer all those questions.
So let's move on to.
Actually, we already short of time.
Okay, yeah. I think I'm sorry, I didn't keep track of the time.
So we will continue again with an interesting discussion on Blast from the Grassroots. Stay tuned. And by the way, if you want to keep up with us, you can always follow us on Twitter and Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe to our weekly digest. You can send us an email to request for it via durianasian@gmail.com.
And if you don't have a computer with you, you can always download the TuneIn app on your smartphone, and you can still tune in to us and listen to our daily shows from 8 to 10.
Yeah, so stay tuned at durianasian.com.